Hey y'all, we back.
Hey,
Another week.
I know you was ready.
Don't pay her no mind right now.
I'm gonna stop looking at him.
All I'm gonna say is I promise she's not on drugs. That's what I'm gonna say.
Nat in here too.
Apparently it's Nat season in Florida. But anyhow, you found us again. No Crime After Dark, where we have to talk about crime in the daytime because I need a new theme. I'm tired of saying it. She's scary.
I'm not ever gonna be not scared.
I don't think you will, so I guess it'll just stay. So today we're starting a 3-part series. Now, you brought this to my attention because I didn't even know it was just men out here with the last name Peterson offing their wives.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know.
Not related at all. So we are all fully aware of.
Not that they know. They can have some type of something.
But were they even in the same state though?
Do you have to be from the same state to be related?
No.
We don't know what them ancestors blood genes been.
Well, one of their last names was spelled different.
Yes, one of their last names. But I mean that happens a lot.
This is true because my mom's maiden name, like the older generation, starts with just it's Nave, and then as time went on, somebody dropped the ball and added a K. So then the younger generation has. So yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, but you know, there is no relation that
we know of.
Yeah.
This one's gonna be interesting.
I didn't get it.
Because you ain't gonna be able to sit there and just not swallow.
I can't. It was like right in my freaking face.
So anyway, today we're gonna talk about Scott Peterson, the biggest Peterson of them all. We're going in chronological order. We know the Scott Peterson story has been told
over and over again.
We done got evidence put in, taken out. Just it was a mess, and it's crazy because that was the year we graduated.
Yeah,
2000.
This is my first. This is when I was like became addicted because I was all on trying to find Lacey. Okay, I was like, where is she? She has a baby. This is crazy. Who comes up missing? Never once did I think, being high school, the husband killed her.
I was definitely binging the news coverage of it with my grandma. Yeah. I was definitely doing that.
And I guess her being from California, so it's just like all over. So I was very.
That's what did it. It was the fact that it was up the street. Like, you just gonna act like we ain't recording. Anyway, it happened pretty much right up the street, and so it was a very big deal. Even though Modesto's small, they had the whole state going bananas behind that disappearance.
Yeah, I mean they had every reason, but yeah, I was worried. I wanted to know.
Yeah, no. So I guess we'll just get into it. And like I said, it's chronological order. The next episode will be next week. What was the next guy's name?
Drew. Was it Drew? I think it was Drew.
Drew Peterson. I might correct myself later. And before we get into it, I was absolutely incorrect about how many episodes we recorded. So I think this would be number 8. So I was like 4 off. But what I was including was like the little reels and stuff I be doing.
Oh, yeah, you be on them.
She just here so she don't get fined. But anyway,
attitude.
You said what?
I come with my very positive attitude.
You do have a very positive attitude. That's the only reason you don't get fined.
Oh, that's so nice.
Anyhow, December 24th, 2002, Lacey Peterson went missing. It literally was just boom, she gone. Said the last time she was seen was walking her dog. She left the house to walk the dog, and the dog came home, but she didn't. That's how it started. Seems simple enough, doesn't it? Just
9 months pregnant. She's only like
8 months pregnant. Yes.
Because she's only like 3 weeks from like.
She could have had that baby at any day.
Any time, right?
Yeah.
But I think she was like 3 weeks away from her due date.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
So, seems simple enough. Just, people go missing sometimes, unfortunately. But this will turn out to be so far from the case. And this story's crazy. Anyhow, Ron Gransky, Lacey's stepdad, is the one who called the police to report her missing. That's red flag number one. So they started doing an investigation. They talked to Scott. They talked to the family. And it literally just kind of seems like she just disappeared. Scott's like, she was fine this morning. We talked about our day. She said she was going to walk the dog, and then she was going to go do some shopping for Christmas Eve. She's going to do some shopping for the breakfast for Christmas.
And she's also pregnant. So
and she's also pregnant. So you only do what you feel like you have to at 8 months.
Right.
If it can wait till next week, it's going to wait till next week once you get 8 months pregnant. But she's going out to get some food for the breakfast the next morning. And he's like, okay, great. And he's going to go. Well, we find out later that he went to the marina. But there's some details that fall into that later on in the story. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to delve too much into that just yet. But he said she made the bed.
What? What'd he do? He hit his head.
She has a teenage son. Anyhow, she made the bed. Everything was fine when she left the house because he says he was still there for some time. Mm-hmm. He left around 10:18. This was a very specific time to go handle his business and go to the marina.
Like, how you know you left at 10:18? I mean, unless you made a phone call and you seen.
The only time I pay attention to the time like that is if I'm running late for something.
Not me. I don't never pay attention to time like that. The only time I pay attention to time like that is when I see a kid walking by themselves on our country.
Okay, but you're like one in like 200 people in the world, or at least in this country, that does that.
It's 74:44, so I know that's where I seen her on that street, 7:44.
The only time I pay attention to the time like that, like if I'm running late for work, or if I'm doing a vendor event or something and I'm running late for that, that's the only time I'm going to know. I left at 6:32. I left at 5:12. That's the only time I'm going to know.
I never know what time.
So that, again, that was a very 10:18 a.m. was a very specific time.
Yeah.
And I'll give him some credit because I feel like he lied anyway, but at least you didn't pick like 10:30, 10:15, because to me that just seems too convenient. Like it's exactly on the, so I'll give him.
That would have been me. I don't know, about 10 something.
Between 10 and 10:30, I don't know.
Right. It wasn't left yet. I know that much. Because if I was left, it would have been late. So about 10 something.
So now the police have come to the home. They're trying to gather whatever evidence they can find. And this was mentioned like in the beginning. I thought it was actually pretty pertinent to the storytelling. Mm-hmm. Scott said that she made the bed before she left and nobody had got in the bed after she left. Mm-hmm. But when the police came and looked at the house, he said it looked like somebody had been sitting on the bed. Like the covers were disheveled a little in one specific spot, like somebody mm-hmm. sat on. So he noticed that. To give a little backstory, because I like to go in the order of the information I received. So to give a little backstory leading up to this, Lacey was born and raised in Modesto, California, Modesto's finest. And everybody just described her as this fun-loving, talkative, social butterfly, basically.
Person, right. She's
just a nice person. Mm-hmm. Apparently came from an upper middle class, which isn't hard to do in Modesto, but an upper middle class suburb type of family. Yeah. So she came from a little bit of a good background. So life was great for her. In 93, she ended up going to the California Polytech State University to study ornamental horticulture. I meant to look that up because what is that?
I don't know.
Or like I hear ornamental and my mind goes straight to like Christmas ornaments. I'm gonna look that up because I meant to do it and I forgot.
I was doing it.
Huh?
Or It's like grass, right? Like environment.
This horticulture is grass. Okay, let me see here. I got the definition right here. Or horticulture is gardening, rather. So ornamental, let me sound my words out. Ornamental horticulture, the definition, a program that focuses on the domesticated plants and plant materials used for decorative and recreational applications and prepares individuals to breed, grow, and utilize ornamental plant varieties for commercial and aesthetic purposes. So basically, it's teaching you how to be a gardener. She paid good college money to learn how to be a gardener. I'm gonna shut up. I
know a lot of people
be gardening her tail off. She ain't never paid no college tuition to do it. But anyhow, this is where she met Scott while she was going to Polytech. Mm-hmm. He was a waiter at the time. He was born and raised in San Diego. Such great representation for my hometown. Thanks, God. I'm just saying, everywhere. We don't know all of them. But he came from a similar upbringing. Middle class. They said he was an avid golfer. Just your all-American kid is how they described him. Which I think plays a big part in this story, because what looked good on the outside don't mean everything is straight on the inside. Because looking at them, it didn't seem like they had or would have had.
I mean, that's like every situation though. Like, it's always like.
But like theirs was definitely like blue collar or white collar, upper middle class. That they even specified that they were Republicans. Like, it just didn't get any more. They did, like, for Scott's family, just typical Republican family. Like, they even specified that part, so it don't get no more cookie cutter, quote unquote, American dream than that for me. Yeah. So that's how they met. I'm gonna let you take it, because we'll go.
No, I don't have dates. I didn't write dates.
Yeah, you said you didn't write the dates.
Yeah, I didn't write the dates.
So I'll go for a little bit longer, I guess. So August 9th, 97, Scott and Lacey got married. Okay. After college, they moved to Modesto. Lacey was a substitute teacher. Mm-hmm. Scott took a job as a salesperson for I think they said a fertilizer company. And everything seemed like it was great. Mm-hmm. Just newlyweds. We probably got a nice little house and everything is great. Family's getting along. Ain't nobody beefing. Just good old times. And not long after that, Lacey gets pregnant.
Mm-hmm. Like normal, like any,
normal newlywed couple would not. Up to this point, there really weren't many red flags in their relationship. No arguing, no physical violence. I think that's what made it worse. Is like nobody on either side saw this.
It came out of nowhere.
Yeah, like that really like fell in their lap. So we're gonna go back to the date of disappearance. We did a little background check. So on the date of the disappearance, Scott said he went to pick up his boat and then headed to the marina. And when he got back, she was gone. Now,
the boat was at storage. He had a storage
at the marina. Okay.
Making sure you know about that storage. We can come back to that storage.
We're gonna come back to a whole lot, because when I say the pieces to this bubble, and this is the story that has been told ever since it happened. This is nothing new. This is just our spin on it. And then we've gotten some other things have happened since then too. Because like I said, I found out some information that I didn't know before. So by this point, they've already started questioning Scott. I'm thinking his last name. They've already started questioning Scott, and he's telling them this is what happened. When I got back, she was gone. They asked him, would he agree to a polygraph? He's like, sure, whatever you need. And they asked him, had he shot a gun in the last 24 to 40 hours kind of thing. And he's like, nah. Can we do a gunshot residue test on you? Sure. But he's like he's not combative. He's not trying to refuse anything. But at the same time, that man never cried.
But I had watched one and they were saying like he was always a person where he was like, what is it called, melatonin, whatever. Is it melatonin? Melatonin. Like he just didn't have like a personality. Like it was never like, you couldn't tell if he was happy, sad, mad, and like he was very one dimension. Like he was never, oh my God, or oh I'm so sad. Like you could never tell. Somebody
it must be in the looks then, because I can't be around nobody. I can't read you. I don't like that.
Right? How do you feel? Are you excited?
Right. Like
this?
I need to be able to read you a little bit. Like, come on now.
I told Dad, I was like, I'm showing you damn teeth. Shit, you just look. What the hell? Open your mouth. Shake your
oh, Lord. Well, when they're doing the gunshot residue test, they notice a cut on his hand. Now, I don't even recall that ever coming back up, but that's still a concerning issue. But they didn't think too much of it because, again, he's not refusing anything. He didn't let him come in the house.
So he's not behaving like a suspect.
Yeah, he's not being suspect at all. He didn't let him in the house. They didn't search the house. He didn't agree to this polygraph, like everything. It was the lack of emotion for me.
Yeah.
Now, this is something else that's going to come back up later. Apparently, on Christmas Eve, same day Lacey went missing, a burglary happened across the street from their home. Now, from the very beginning, police suspected or wondered, like, did Lacey see these people breaking into the house? Neighbors confirmed that they saw a suspicious vehicle at that particular neighbor's house. This is a small, Modesto's not big at all.
Yeah.
People know their neighbors, who they are. And that particular family was on vacation. And when they got back on the 26th, their back door had been kicked in, the safe had been stolen. So they're wondering if Lacey saw any of this and maybe the burglars kidnapped her.
I think that was just like, I don't know. I feel like that was like a far fetch of saying like the burglars, which say it was like two. They came in, they got the TV, the safe, you know, a stereo system. I don't know what they took, jewelry, and they're rushing out. They see Lacey be walking with the dog, and they're like, "We're gonna get you too. We're gonna throw you in the van." Like I don't know.
That's not funny, but yep, you can get in the van too.
You too. You was gonna go with me. Like I don't know. I heard that story, and I was just like, I mean,
what was also mentioned was like normally in a situation like that, when people are in that situation, somebody sees you in the middle of your crime, usually the first reaction is, oh shit, let me get the fuck up out of here.
Go.
Yeah, like I don't have time to attract no more attention to myself. Let me just get
gonna run across the street, grab the girl, the pregnant woman
that everybody in the neighborhood knows is pregnant.
Cover her, carry her to the car, throw her in the van, or
nobody hears the dog bark.
Right. Then someone has to run around the back and get back in the driver's seat. And if you don't have a van, you have to run back to the front of the truck, the other guy. Like, it seems like a lot.
I've always said that's why I can't kill nobody. And if I did, I'm going to just turn myself in. Because that's just too much work to be trying to cover it up and hide it. And I'm just a whole nother level of lazy where I'm not going to do that. I'm not. Yeah. You want me to dig a hole, dismember. Do you know how long it takes to cut through bone?
I don't even want to talk about cutting through bone.
I'm just saying.
I don't even know. What in the hell? I would freak out just by the.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I just throw the whole me away because I'm going to jail. I'm calling the police on myself.
I mean, I'm not killing anybody unless it has to do with that little young man in there.
Right.
So we're good. Don't like him in the house. I'm good.
I'm not planning on it. I'm just saying for those that take the time, that is dedication.
Yeah,
that is dedication. But anyhow, they brought in a dog. Like, they investigated. They didn't have a whole search party. They searching the whole San Francisco
neighborhood,
Bay Area, everything. And what prompted it was when they brought in the what do they call those dogs? The dogs that be sniffing the people out.
The dogs.
Y'all know what I'm talking about. The German Shepherds. They brought the dog out, and instead of the dog going in the direction that Scott said Lacey would have gone in, which was toward the park to walk the dog went in the direction of where Scott would have had to go
to the marina.
So with that information, that's what prompted the search for over the Bay, San Francisco Bay area. And that's a lot of land and water to cover.
Yeah.
So the manpower had to be ridiculous.
I mean, and it was days. It was like days of searching.
Yeah, they searched for a while.
And then it was so sad because like Lacey's parents, or mother and stepfather, rather, were more like, no, Scott wouldn't do that. Like at the beginning, they were like very much on his
everybody
side,
was backing him up.
Yeah. That he wouldn't do this, not like this, this wouldn't be him. And then
I don't even think in the beginning they really suspected him though.
Right. And it was the candlelight. Is that what it was?
Hold on, wait.
Okay.
We're gonna take a couple steps back because we hitting it at.
Okay.
So while all of this is going on, Scott ain't attended nothing. He ain't at the search parties. Buddy is just MIA.
Doing his thing. Chilling.
News reporters, of course, go knocking on his door, trying to get a statement, trying to get an interview. He's refusing to talk to the media, which I can't really say that was a bad move, because that can go either way, because they'll twist what you said in a heartbeat. Yeah. So I don't really too much condemn him for that, but it's just like you weren't present when it mattered for you to be present, was my thing. So this, I be trying not to be childish, I do, but I always find something when we doing this stuff. So Scott stayed out the media, but his mama had some words, and she said she felt like she was in Nazi Germany the way her family and Scott was being treated. The reason I find this hilarious is because she sounded like a Karen. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm in Nazi Germany, and like, be upset, but I just feel like you drug it a little bit. Yeah, Miss Peterson or whatever your last name is.
Yeah, calm down.
Relax. It's not Nazi Germany, because if it was, he'd be dead already. But anyhow, she had her words, and Lacey's family didn't think anything was suspect.
No.
Everybody had his back. Scott was really not looking like, they didn't have any valid suspects at that point. They had nothing. They just knew she disappeared. She's 8 months pregnant. We got to move quickly, as fast as we can. And then here comes Amber Fry.
Oh.
You talk about shooting a bullet through somebody's story.
I felt like I don't know how I felt about her in that relationship. It was very odd to me. She looked very like, I don't want to say like drug, she looked like an addict. Like she was very
see that.
Like her eyes were like, like, what do you call it when they're like dark and dented in? Her hair was like stringy. I don't know. I was like, where did this girl come from? Like,
I can see that.
Yeah,
I don't think she was, but I can see her.
No, I don't think she was either.
Yeah,
I mean, she had a hard life. So I guess a guy like him would
look like she had it rough.
Yeah, so a guy like him would be a catch for her.
True.
I don't know. So it felt like it was weird. I was like, what the fuck? What the crap, Scott?
So sometime before, because they didn't specify exactly the date for when they met, but sometime at least a few months prior to Lacey coming up missing, Amber is set up on a blind date with this dude. This dude happens to be Scott Peterson,
a married damn man
with a baby on the way. So, normal questions. She's one of the few that actually asked the right questions.
Yeah, she did.
Asked him, was he married? He looked her dead in the face and said no. Asked her if he had any kids. Looked her dead in the face and said no, because once that woman pregnant, you got kids. So yeah. And then we talking at least 6-7 months at this point. So she's well into at least her second trimester.
Yeah.
We can assume by the time he met.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Told her no. And they is dating and they is having all the fun. And he even fluked on Lacey
to hang out with Amber.
To hang out with Amber for a Christmas party. Now, I'm going to give y'all a little something to hold on to for those that have not heard this story. If you have not, I don't know where you been, but okay. Mm-hmm. It was later found out, and this is what you was getting into. Well, I guess I'll let you do it. That's what you was getting into.
Wait, what is that? I don't know what you're say. What happened? Oh, when the man came?
The vigil.
When the woman came?
No, nobody came to who came to the vigil?
Remember the woman that was asking, "Where's your wife?"
No, they didn't mention that in what I
in front of in front of the house too.
No, I don't think that's we must be talking about two different vigils because they had more than one.
Okay.
So basically, what ended up happening was they're dating.
Yeah.
Amber has no idea what happened. She finds out via a friend. And Amber calls the police and lets them know. Police taps Amber's phone so they can record the conversations between her and Scott. When she talked to him on New Year's Eve, because he called her on the 30th, that was the first day that they had tapped the phone. December 30th, they tapped her phone and the call ended up dropping, like they couldn't hear each other kind of thing. The 31st, he called back and was talking to her and said he was in Paris and how it was so packed and New Year's Eve is so dope in Paris. The vigil I'm referring to is the vigil that he was at when he was on the phone with Amber telling her that he was in Paris. He was at a vigil for Lacey on the phone with his side chick.
Yeah.
Now, what vigil are you talking about?
They had one and he was like, the woman was asking, "Where's your wife? Where's your wife? Tell us what you did with your wife." Or maybe I'm confusing that with one of the other Petersons.
I don't know. It's so many facets to this, but we'll find out as we get through these next two episodes.
Two other guys?
Yeah. We might just have to come back next week and fill y'all in. But they got the calls, and some months go by. They recording these calls, just basically trying to get him
and track
to admit to something and to track where he is and corroborate the stories he's giving.
Yes.
And then, in typical American fashion, somebody leaked a picture of Scott and Amber at one of their dates, parties, whatever, to the National Enquirer. If ain't nobody else magazine messy, they are.
They don't get that shit out there.
They don't care. You ain't talking to them unless you got a court order stating they can't put it out. They putting it out.
Yeah.
So now the police have to hurry up and get to Lacey's family and tell them, like, hey,
this man has an affair.
Yeah, he's been cheating, and we trying to let y'all know before the media lets it out.
And that's when Lacey's mom was like, she had enough.
And the cop quoted her saying, like, why did he have to kill her? Like, in that moment, she just knew it was Scott.
That was it. Yeah. And that's true. I agree with Mama. What you
No, I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense at that point.
Yeah.
You've been lying and dipping and dodging and all of that, and now I'm pretty sure you murdered my child and my grandbaby.
Right. So why?
Yeah. January 24th of 2004. I don't know why I got 2023 written down. January 4th of 2004.
You're not at work. Write the dates.
A press conference was held for Amber to make a statement, and she was very specific. I'm gonna make my statement, but y'all can't ask me no questions. Mm-hmm. And that's how it went. She came out, she made her statement. I feel like she was genuine. I believe what she was saying, and her story has never changed.
No,
throughout this entire process. I feel like
she really was saying was like, girl, no, like that is not true. The only thing I say is like, what is this relationship? Like, what is, like, you know what I mean? This is confusing, but everything she said seems like a real affair. Like, not like a made up nothing in her head.
And I think I say that because it's like, you don't want to be looked at as an accomplice, because we watched and covered, well, not even covered yet, but we watched so many stories where the new chick is just adamant about having that man. So I will help you kill your wife so we can be together.
No, I mean, I agree, but she didn't even know he was married. So it's not like...
But that's what I'm saying. I feel like the only reason she came out with the statement was to cover her own tracks. Because had she not, especially with the way his lawyer played it, they would have tried to make it seem like she had something to do with it, or she had the motive to want Lacey
like Scott is on his
murdered.
own.
And then the phone calls, I think, further exonerated her, because it's like, y'all can see this nigga
lied to me, or
yeah, he just
lied. Tried to lie and say they were getting divorced. She said she was pregnant, and you guys like, what do you mean you were getting divorced?
That was the conversation. She was like, so when you mentioned to me a couple weeks ago that you lied about not being married and you had been married before, and that this would be the first holiday without your wife, without y'all being together. They said this was like 2 weeks before Lacey went missing.
Yeah.
And she asked him, like, how did you know she was going to be missing 2 weeks ago? Like, are you a fortune teller? Are you a psychic? Like, how did you know
that?
Mm-hmm. And he was like, well, sometimes you just know. And she was like, well, I need you to explain how you just knew. He's like, well, I can't explain it. Well, did you tell her about me? Yeah. And what did she say? Oh, she didn't mind. You mean, and this is Amber. So you mean to tell me an 8-month pregnant woman, married, finds out that her husband is having a whole affair on her and she's okay with it?
Yeah. And that's when the mama was like, no, Lacey did not know.
Right.
She would have cared. That's fault. Like, yeah, the mama was
everybody that knew her that was on her side in that documentary said they're like, her homegirls was like, there's no way Lacey would have knew that and not said nothing to us about it. Like, come on.
And are being brokenhearted, first of all, and her emotions is running rapid with her pregnancy.
Right. And I probably wouldn't be as quick to tell my family, but I'm definitely calling you or Toya or somebody. Like, I'm definitely gonna tell one of y'all. So
because now you on the verge of killing.
Shout out to Amber though, because Amber was like, nah, because what we not finna do is play in my face. That's what we not finna do.
Yeah.
Even though she knew she was being recorded, still I know there was true agitation. Like, you just keep lying.
Yeah, I mean,
and I gotta keep acting like I don't know.
Right. The initial questions were probably for her to ask, but once he had his what he said, his response she was like, really? Now she's irritated. Now she's
I got stupid stamped on my, and you can hear it in her voice. Like, do I got
she's going back to that relationship that they have. Now she's like, wait a minute, no, you're not gonna sit here and tell me no bullcrap like this. So I believe that she, I believe what she was saying.
So they didn't give a date for this. Stephen Todd and Donald Pierce, going back to that robbery on Christmas Eve, they admitted that they were the people that robbed that house. But they also were adamant about they had nothing to do with Lacey's disappearance. Like, look, we did.
And then that's why they didn't one of them like come out and say it, like volunteer the information.
Yeah, no, it just like they just went to the police station. Like, look, because eventually it probably would have came back to them.
Right. Yeah.
The further they investigated. So you know what? Let me go ahead and let them know. Yep, we did it, but we ain't got nothing to do with that.
We got nothing to do with that.
No,
that right there. Now I got your TV in the back.
I be robbing houses. I don't be killing people. I don't do that.
I don't come up with
I got a lane and I stay in it.
And I seen her out there and I zoned right past it.
Got in the van and left. That's what I did. But no, but they were adamant and their alibis checked out. And they also stated the robbery didn't happen on Christmas Eve. He's like, nah, we ain't pull up through there till the 26th.
The day of.
The day of. So this would have had to have happened sometime before the family got home, because they said the family was out of town and didn't return till the 26th. So they had to be there either the night of Christmas or early morning the next day. And that makes sense, because that's why people are adamant about when you open your gifts on Christmas, don't put the whole 78-inch TV box on the curb so people know exactly what you have in your house. Break it down. So that makes sense that they would have waited till after the holiday with the assumption that they're going to come up on something. That makes sense to me.
Are they already knew they was gone? They probably seen the lights been out. That been
Yeah.
out today, been out yesterday. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, because they definitely cased it before they went on and did it.
Mm-hmm.
So now police got to start trying to figure it out because now they got to answer for the burglary. We got to see what's going on. Scott ain't looking too reliable right now.
It was his fake ass interview that he did.
And you know what? When I watched, didn't even bring up the interview. I was slightly agitated about that. So you take the floor on that one.
I mean, the lady was asking. He just was he was very this. I love my wife. Like, I just very much like. I'm not gonna say he didn't look guilty to me. He just didn't look like he cared much. Like he didn't want to be here. Like somebody made him be there. Like somebody said, no, you have to go there.
It was probably his attorney.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, but that's how he looked. Like somebody made him be here. Like he didn't want to be there. Like he's wasting his time. And he just was trying to justify his relationship and then try to say that things weren't as good with Lacey as everybody thinks, which may have been.
That could be very true.
Yeah. But doesn't mean that you go and have an affair. That's not the normal thing to do. The normal thing to do is to get, seek help.
Or get a divorce.
Or, but it's not to go have an affair and then lie about it. And then you're not even telling this girl the truth. So you're just a liar outright. Lying to your wife, lying to the media.
At least tell the side chick the truth so somebody's aware of what's going on. Hey ho.
Exactly. So you're just a liar. So I feel like if your relationship was bad with Lacey, you would have told the girl, Amber, like, I'm married, but I ain't feeling that. Like, whatever. I'm trying to get out of there. You just made up a whole lot. You don't have a wife. You don't have a child. It's your first holiday without her. Like,
and then double back on it. If you gonna tell a lie, stick to that lie. I cannot stand. I understand the guilty conscience, but it had nothing to do with a guilty conscience with him. He was trying to cover his tracks. You didn't feel guilty about what you did. You were simply trying to cover up what you did. If I go to them people, aka the police, and tell them one story, that's the story you gonna get. That's the story my mama gonna get. That's the story my daddy gonna get. Anybody I talk to.
That is the damn story.
Period.
That's it.
And as we said, we taking it to the grave, okay? If I get convicted, I just get convicted. You ask me 20 years later, it's going to be the same story.
I'm not changing it. It is what it is.
I just be mad because no.
Yeah.
I'm giving everybody the same story. And like I said, I don't feel like he ever felt guilty. It was a matter of trying to cover his tracks. But where you played yourself is this is going to be my first Christmas without her. He didn't plan on things going the way they went.
Yeah. Oh, then the bodies come. You got to do the bodies. Because now, after all this.
Well, first, before that, they did an investigation on the boat. And what they found on that boat, they found a cinder block, which basically they use for weight to keep the ship or the boat in place while he's fishing or whatever.
And then they also found the
concrete. Yeah, that's what I said. The cinder block.
Storage. Yeah.
And the shavings. Yeah, they were at the storage and there were shavings like he was doing something with them, either cutting them down or whatever, because they believe he handmade them. Mm-hmm. So out of the 5 ingrained circles on that shed or that trailer that he had in the shed, they were only able to find one still on the trailer on the boat. So they're assuming this had to have been used to weigh her body down. Because this is the San Francisco Bay. You got to keep something to keep it weighed down because all it's going to do is float at the top. Eventually it'll drop, but it's just
or come to.
Yeah. So with this being said, a couple weeks later, and I thought the way it was portrayed in what I watched, I thought it was sad, but again, kind of comforting. The stepdad, Ron, said he was like at somebody's lake one day and just trying to take a mental break from everything. And he said he looked up at the sky. He said it was in April. He looked up at the sky and he was like, God, I know Lacey is probably dead, but can you at least let us find her body so the family can get through this?
It's Lacey's real dad for me.
Well, I tried to skip over that.
Did you see the real daddy?
When at the press conference when he broke down. Yeah.
That and so you must have didn't watch the one that I watched.
I didn't.
Him. He said, because he's like a rancher.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And he's so handsome.
Mm-hmm.
It's a handsome man. Shit. Is he bow-legged and rides a horse?
Girl, shut up.
I mean, that man is sexy. But he was just like, you could tell that the way he was talking about like his daughter and like how he felt about Scott, you could tell he wanted to say like, I'll kill his ass. Like, like
let me be mindful of what you say.
Okay. But I'm saying that's how he looked. Like he was saying like,
yeah, he was fighting it back, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I can read it in your eyes. I know it. And I was like, I like this daddy. And I just felt so bad. I like that day. But when he broke down, that was it. I said, oh no.
Yeah, no, yeah, that did something to me.
But I like it. That was a good day.
When Ron got back to his car, not
my Ron.
Not your Ron, but Ron got back to his car. He had his cell phone in the car and he has some missed messages and a missed call. So he calls back. I can't remember they didn't even mention who he said he called, but it was like they found Lacey and Connor's body. And Connor, by the way, is the baby because again, she's 8 months pregnant, so her name is already picked out.
On the door.
Huh?
On the room door.
Yeah. She had already started putting the nursery. It's just sad.
Yeah. Okay, don't go there.
But they get back. Lacey's body washed up on shore in the San Francisco Bay. So they did look in the right area, but assumption is those weights kept her down long enough to where
also,
she couldn't be
I think
found.
they were like saying something about the weather that around that time, the currents were doing this and that. So they believe that it like pushed her. I'm gonna say, I think south. She was,
and
like,
not just that. After the body decomposes for a while, it gets gassy, and eventually, based on that current, eventually it corroded and eroded the chains or the metal on those cinder blocks. Her body eventually got gassy. It's gonna come back to the surface anyway.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, when she washed up on shore, now this was the insane part for me, and I have seen some stuff. Connor was outside of her body already. The assumption is based on the fact that her head, both her forearms were missing. And they said she was pretty much a torso. So I'm assuming her legs was probably gone too, or mostly gone. Mm-hmm. They think it was just the erosion and the decomp that eventually, because he was already fully formed at this point, that eventually her skin broke and he came out of the womb, but apparently was still attached to her because they washed up together. Mm-hmm. They said all her organs was missing.
It's the people finding them, though.
Who found them?
The people just walking on the beach.
It's always somebody just minding their business.
Right. I would hate to be walking down the beach and be like, I would freak out.
I'm never going back to the beach after that.
I'd be upset. And then knowing that you're from there and this girl is missing, that's the first thing you're going to
The first thing that comes to mind. Like, I wonder
if her. You're going to freak out. I don't know. I would freak out. I wouldn't want to see no crap like that.
But somehow the baby was still attached, which is amazing to me.
Because that's the mama and that's the baby.
Period. Because they washed up together. Yeah. So I'm not even going to get into the full details of the trial. I'm going to touch on it. But they got on my nerves unless you got something you want to add.
No, because it just was ridiculous.
So we're going to put it in a nutshell. It goes to trial, of course, especially once her body's found.
It's him.
They go looking for Scott.
Okay.
Girl. Go ahead. What was you going to say?
No, go ahead because I think you're going to say it, what I'm going to say.
They go looking for Scott and come to find out Scott is out of here. And I ain't talking just a little bit of out of here. Homie been gone. Because he came from Modesto. And by the time they caught Buddy, he was almost to the border in San Diego. If you are from California, that's at least a good 8 to 10 hour head start.
But the fact that this is him. He stopped in Torrey Pines to play around the golf.
I mean, I might not be able to do it while I'm in Mexico.
You don't have time to do it, sir. You are a killer. You need to get the hell on, or you're going to jail.
But like I said, he had been gone. That's like what, 8 to 10 hours, something like that, from San Diego.
No, yeah, no.
So Buddy was gone the day before.
Then they already had the tracker on his car. So I mean, it's not like they were like looking for him. They're like,
they just had to push a button, and there he was.
There he is, and then they're going to get him.
They caught him trying to cross the border, like most people do, after they do some reckless stuff, and they found him with $15,000 cash, a bunch of camping equipment. He dyed his hair blonde. If you go look at the pictures, and had his brother's ID,
and dyed his hair blonde like his brother. And my thing is, did you take this from your brother? Or did your brother say, yes, this is a good idea? Why do you need my ID?
Either he already had it, or Nazi Germany mama
got it for him.
Gave it to him. Because I can see her trying to cover it up.
I mean, there's something that I would do for my family. You know, there is.
I'm not aiding and abetting a murderer.
A murderer.
Comes with just as much time as the murderer.
I don't condone it. I don't give it. I don't care. I'm not doing that.
No.
Girl,
so
get the hell on.
Straight to jail. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200.
And I got all the questions. Why, if you didn't do it, why you need to dye your hair?
And the biggest thing is, why were you trying to run?
Right.
And they found him with 3 different cell phones. He didn't want to be found.
No, he was getting the hell out of there.
But you didn't do that.
Like Rosarito or something. Sure, you getting the hell out of here. I'm going to go chillax.
And it was other behavior leading up to that really pushed them, because they also said by the end of January, so barely a month later, he done already sold Lacey's car and then is in the works of trying to put the house on the market. Like, why are you leaving and the case ain't even closed yet?
Even though I don't believe that there is ever like a motive for just plain like murdering someone, but I didn't get what I know. They try to say, well, he wanted to be with the mistress and he wanted to do that. It's like, is that really what he wanted to do? I feel like he was just really tired of being a husband, or maybe, or was like, it was too much.
Of course.
I know. Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. But so I was like, that's not a reason. Like, I feel like when they say, oh, well, what's the motive? Like, do they need one? Like, why? Murder, you look just me. You're a murderer.
In situations like that, yes, I feel like you do, because self-defense is self-explanatory.
No, what I'm saying is, I don't need, like, if I'm on the juror, and I don't need you to give me the reason. Just give me the evidence. I don't know why he did it. It doesn't make me feel better about him being a murderer. Like, oh, well, he did it because it doesn't matter. He did it. Give me the evidence. Show me it. He did it. Like, it's just, I don't know. You just.
So
it wasn't worth it.
It goes to trial. And because they say the media was so heavy over this case, they decided not to do it in Modesto and moved it to Redwood to have the trial.
It's like only 2 cities over or somewhere, right?
We're gonna get to that before we finish. And also because the media was involved, Scott hired Mike Garagos. Now, Mike Garagos is well versed in media cover, like heavily media covered cases. They said he represented Winona Ryder, and he also represented my dude, Michael Jackson, during the child molestation charges. So on one hand, I feel like you a dirty motherfucker because you represented Scott. But on another hand, I feel like you might be all right. But I'm very biased when it comes to Michael Jackson. So anyway.
I just feel like, he's going to go where the money talks, where the fame's going to go.
And that period.
That's it. I mean.
But my thing is, that's what I was going to say. That's what I was leading up to. His family had to have some bread.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because if you can represent Winona Ryder and Michael Jackson, you ain't coming with no cheap little tab.
I mean, and also, he could sell his house. He gets that money. He can sell his boat. He gets that money. I mean, those things, that he can sell. And
to sum up the trial, he was found guilty. I'm not even going to go through the details because the defense did what the defense is supposed to do. They tried to flip it. They admitted that he was a whore, but he wasn't a killer. They did get a couple opportunities.
Which is fine. You're right. Being a whore doesn't mean you're a killer.
Yeah.
Does it? No, being a killer means you're a killer. Like you killed her.
And at this point, we think he killed her.
Being a runner, dyeing your hair, that right there is, I mean, you just if you really did, like, why are you running? What are you, like, what, I don't know.
If I'm innocent, I'm not moving, dog. Like, I'm not going nowhere. I'm not going to the club. I'm about to sit at home.
Right. And still hire your lawyer and get the shit done. You don't need to run, but you run and let you know, like, I did this shit and I ain't trying to go to jail.
Mike's whole standpoint was the police overlooked viable evidence. They didn't even try to look nowhere else. I don't agree, because they didn't let go of the robbery theory until the guys came out and showed up. They did it. Yeah, like they were still hinging upon that. And let's not act like your client just didn't keep looking guilty. Okay, he did it to himself. Nobody had to do it to him. They said so. He was found guilty. Convicted of 2 counts of murder, 1 first degree for Lacey, 2nd degree for Connor, and Buddy was sentenced to death. Yeah. Which, considering the circumstances, the punishment has to fit the crime. Period. Yeah. But now they're saying 13 years later, after the fact, that they found new evidence that it wasn't Scott. Now, they did bring up the cult thing. That's what I wanted to bring up, the cult. Oh. Well, there's always been a theory that there was this satanic cult because there was a woman that went missing 6 months before Lacey did.
And she was also pregnant, right?
Yeah, and she was 8 months pregnant, and she was found in a similar manner that Lacey was. And I actually wrote her name down. I didn't get that information. No, I did. Neighbors. I definitely wrote that down. She was a Hispanic lady, though. I do remember that off the top of my head. She was also Evelyn Hernandez. There it is. She was found 8 months pregnant, washed up in the San Francisco Bay. Legs missing, head gone, arms missing. Like everything was identical. And even though I truly believe Scott did this without a shadow of a doubt, you know, some of the stuff that I believe in, I'm not completely against that theory either.
Oh no, me neither. People are crazy.
Yeah. So like, even though I truly feel like Scott did it, I'm not necessarily. You did good. You ain't had to swat one in like 30 minutes.
It just barely disappeared. I'm telling you, something's wrong.
But no, I don't necessarily dismiss that theory. But now they're saying that other neighbors came out saying they saw Lacey in the neighborhood after 10:18, that very specific time that morning.
Where was you at 13 years ago?
That's what I don't like. Don't come out 20 years after it happened. Tell me what you saw.
I've been here for 20 years already. Just let the shit go.
No, like seriously. Yeah. But he's gonna die in prison. I hope no other evidence comes up to where they overturn the sentence. I might sound cold. I don't care. That woman was 8 months pregnant.
I mean, and
with your child.
And if they feel like the code did it, then they need to figure out who the code is.
Investigate it, right? If that's who you feel did it, y'all need to find this cult that y'all think did it. Because now that's 2 murders that they can convict for still. You still gonna get that 2 murder charges, just not gonna be on Scott. But I don't feel like they're pushing for enough information. And then they also mentioned a security guard saying that he heard one of the guys that burglarized the house admitting over the phone while talking to his brother that Lacey did see them. And he was like, what are we going to do about Lacey? And the brother on the other line is like, shut up. These calls is recorded. This is the theory. But the problem with it is because they did take it to trial. He did he filed for appeal. They did take it to trial, or to the initial hearing anyway. By the time they got there, the tape and the recording disappeared. And the security guard that made this allegation now all of a sudden refused to testify.
I don't know. I kind of don't believe the burglary story. I don't feel like that. I don't feel like that's like, they just try to get
like the police officer said, in most situations like that, people get caught in the middle of their crime. Yeah. They're not trying to bring any further attention to themselves.
I agree.
So let's just get in the van and go.
Or the truck or whatever the hell.
Whatever they in, let's just go. Period. Go is the word. So
go is the word.
R.I.P. to say what?
I said, yeah, I don't believe that story. But if they feel like it's the cults, then they need to figure it out.
I just wonder how long they're gonna let him sit there before execution.
Right. I mean, yeah.
Because we're going on almost 30 years he's been sitting there.
But I mean, you watch death row inmates and they be in there for like years. Like, why? Just kill me already.
No, because seriously, I just never know when the days. Just you gonna come in here one random day. Just do it now.
Last meal is. I don't want damn last meal.
Oh my gosh, you gotta. I'm gonna send you this episode on like all the people that have been put to death and their requests for last meals.
Oh yeah, let me see.
And like one dude drugged it out and didn't eat nothing. Like Buddy ran up like a $500 or $600 tab and didn't eat shit. So the state of Texas had to change their whole last meal policy.
You got a limit. Limit.
Well, we're not gonna waste tax dollars on is you wasting food. Oh, I was tickled. I was like, he petty.
Yeah, he was mad.
Had them chefs cooking all day.
They don't want none of that shit. I don't even feel like they should get a last meal, but whatever.
I agree.
I mean, they've been give them the same shit they've been eating for the last 50 years. Shit.
I agree. So R.I.P. to Lacey. R.I.P. to Connor. Shout out to Amber because you did an amazing job.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sad though, and it's crazy because we were fresh out of high school, fresh 18 when all of this happened.
Yep, I was all in.
Like I remember watching, like binging with my grandma, watching it. Yeah. That meant he did it, and then when they called him out the bar, I told you he did it.
I'm sure somebody was like, "Oh, they should have let me know he's at the bar. I would have went and got his ass."
Girl, because no, I've got that $500,000 reward, ma'am, sir.
Yeah, I think that this case was like the one that made me feel like, oh my god, like people do, like you hear stuff, but you're like, people really do this, like they, like you know what I mean, like oh my god. No.
I just wait a minute.
What happened?
Okay, we got our timelines a little off, don't we? I might have to double check that. So our next, if I'm correct, our next episode is Michael Peterson.
Oh, okay. Is it not Drew? It's Michael and then Drew?
Actually, he was convicted in 2003. His murder happened in 2001. The crime he committed was in 2001. So we're slightly out of chronological order.
I thought I wrote down the order we're supposed to give.
We did, and my notepad that I wrote it in is in my laptop bag downstairs.
Where's that damn note? Well, whatever. We gonna get to him because I don't understand how they're all together, same last name.
We just gonna give you. Well, they are the Petersons. That was the point. We tried to stay in chronological order.
I want to know why. I want to know.
Yeah, but no. So next week we will be discussing Michael Peterson.
I hope you're ready because it's a long. Because
no, that's the one I told you I gotta watch over the weekend. That's why we started with Scott. That was why.
Okay, because I'm like,
I knew I wasn't gonna get it done by this week
because we knew this one. I don't think you know about the whole thing.
Child, I got a wedding to go to Saturday. I'm gonna watch.
Who's getting married?
One of Paul's friends.
Oh, okay.
The one I was trying to find the outfit for, and I don't think my dress is gonna be here in time. Anyway,
okay,
we'll talk about that off the camera because I'm not giving nobody's business a review on here. Because if I do, no. Catch us online anytime. Twitter, still trying to get used to that. Instagram, No Crime After Dark _podcast. Facebook, we have a like page, No Crime After Dark. We have a group where I post a lot of stuff first, be it reels, almost done with the website. I know I said that like 2 weeks ago, but listen here. She only shows up not to get fined. I do still work a full-time job.
I literally was just talking to Dede about this.
About what?
I was just like, I really don't do that. I just go there. And he was like, oh, maybe you want to do more? I'm like, well, no, I'm not really savvy. Like, what do you want to do? Like, what am I going to do? I don't want to get dressed every day to get on this damn thing to talk about. Like, he was just like,
you don't have to get dressed every day. Like,
he was just looking like, oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. We'll get it together for you eventually. But TikTok, No Crime After Dark. I already said Instagram. YouTube, even though you're already here, probably No Crime After Dark. Hit the notification button. That way, when these episodes come out, you are immediately notified. I do not put a specific time on when I post them. I try to get them posted and edited the night before and scheduled to post at least by 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. But I still work a regular job. So and don't always post.
And your wife. I said, and your wife, and your dog, Mom.
Right, yeah. So
going on,
but I do my best to get it posted on Thursday, period. Because we're not joking about her just showing up to get fined. I do all the recording, the editing, the posting, the setting up of accounts. I got 10 jobs. That's all I
got passwords written down, though. I got those passwords written down.
If I ever get locked out.
I got them. I got them. If you ever forget one, you call me because I got it.
But catch us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and also here on Facebook. Again, I'm pushing. We want that feedback. Definitely. Like, y'all be hitting me up personally. No. Just act like you ain't got my number. Go straight to the Facebook group, No Crime After Dark. That's where I want these opinions at. I appreciate it. Exclude my mama because she's going to do what she want to do anyway. But
you be married.
Because she's the one who pointed out, she's like, I think it's only been like 7 or 8 episodes. It's not 12. So shout out to my mom.
Thank you, man.
Right, because she quick to let me know. Don't be starting stuff. Maisha Bina got our YouTube channel canceled. Dear YouTube, I'm an angry Black woman in America.
Right. You have a play around with my man.
But as always, be safe. Don't marry people that might potentially kill you because they're cheating and they don't want to get caught and don't really want kids. You know I gotta leave my one jewel at the end of every episode. Don't do that. In this case, we didn't have as many red flags, and don't date people and marry people you can't read. We need some emotion going on around here.
I want to see that you're excited. I'm gonna make you a nice cake for your birthday. You just sitting there. I'm gonna put that cake in your face.
No, for real. Now you really want to kill me.
Right. I'm gonna give you a reason.
But we will catch y'all next week. I ignore my broke now. I holla.